his principal intern, Miss Green, and he also has one of his teachers, kindergarten teachers, with him tonight, Miss Muriel Sanders. We also have with us principal at Jamestown Elementary, Dr. Krista D. Bonaventura. We have the principal at Millis Road Elementary with us tonight as well, Mrs. Jennifer Cooper. And we also have joining us from Guilford County School Central Office, Dr. Linda Wilson, who works with community support and engagement. In my role as a school support officer with Guilford County Schools, I supervise 13 elementary schools in our district. Most of those schools are located in the Jamestown and High Point area. And I can say firsthand that I witnessed the deficits and the problems that we have with our facilities each and every day. I coach principals, I go into classrooms, I observe teachers. All the time I see leaky roofs, I see broken HVAC systems, I see holes in our floors, I see broken cabinets, I see broken desks, and those are certainly not environments that are conducive to learning for our students or for our staff members to teaching. A little bit about the state of our schools in Guilford County, and this goes back to the need as well. Guilford County Schools covers 12.5 million square feet. It's comprised of 3,000 acres of land. We currently have 126 schools in Guilford County Schools, 300 plus buildings. We have, in 2020-2021, we had 25,664 work orders that were completed in our district. For those of you who are not educators or administrators, a work order is when something goes wrong or something is broken in a school. It could be the HVAC, it could be a window's broken, it could be a myriad of things. When that happens, either the principal or the assistant principal or the lead custodian has to complete a work order for our maintenance department to come to the school and fix. So in 2020-2021, in our district, we had 25,664 of those that were entered by school staff.
I gotta stop you, bro. Well, I had a mistake. Can you start over?
Yes, sir.
My fault, man. Yeah, no.
Just let me know when.
You're doing good, though.
Ready?
Hold on. You ready?
Pastor Quick, Commissioner Foster, officers, members, and friends of this great church, good evening. I want to say thank you so much for allowing us to have the opportunity to share information with you about a school bond referendum that's going to be on the upcoming ballot, as well as a sales tax increase. I am Weaver Walden, as most of you know. I'm a member here at Calvary, and I'm also a school support officer with Guilford County Schools. And before I get started, I want to introduce some very important people that I brought with me tonight who will be assisting with the presentation. We have Mr. A. Peggy, who is the principal at Fairview Elementary, which is located right behind Calvary Baptist Church. We have Ms. Phoenicia Fuller, who is the assistant principal at Fairview Elementary. We have Ms. Green, who is a principal intern this year at Fairview Elementary. We also have Mrs. Muriel Sanders, who is a kindergarten teacher at Fairview Elementary, and also the most recent Teacher of the Year for that school. So Ms. Sanders, thank you for being with us this evening. We have Dr. D. Bonaventura, who is the principal at Jamestown Elementary. We have Mrs. Jennifer Cooper, who is the principal at Millis Road Elementary. And we have Dr. Linda Wilson, who is joining us from Guilford County Schools Central Office, and she works with community engagement. In my role as a school support officer with Guilford County Schools, I supervise 13 elementary schools in our district. Many of those schools are located in the High Point, Jamestown area. My role consists of coaching principals, conducting observations in schools. So I'm in schools all the time. When I'm in schools, it saddens me that I see leaky roofs. I see broken HVAC systems. I see rooms where in the wintertime students have to wear jackets and hoods over their head. I see rooms in the spring and summertime when we're doing summer learning where the room is so hot where students are sweating. We have windows open. We have schools that have holes in the floor. We have schools where we have broken cabinets. And I have one school where the floor is literally sinking. And I'm sure that my colleagues that have joined me tonight can attest to all those things. A little bit about the state of our schools, which goes back to the need for this referendum. Guilford County Schools is composed of 12.5 million square feet, 3,000 acres of land. 126 schools are in Guilford County Schools. There are 300 plus buildings. During the 2020-2021 school year, there were over 25,000, and I repeat 25,000 work orders that were completed by our maintenance department. For those of you who may not be aware of what a work order is, in the school system, if there is a broken air conditioner or a broken window or something needs to be fixed in the bathroom, things of that nature, the principal, assistant principal, or lead custodian typically fill out a work order, and the maintenance department will come out and address that item. During that school year, there were over 25,000 of those that were completed. Also, there are currently 24 HVAC projects that are ongoing in our district. Next slide, please. In 2019, there was an independent study that was funded jointly by the county commissioners and also Guilford County School Board. That study found that our schools were literally falling apart. The average GCS school was built in the 1960s. For those of you who are watching and listening tonight, you know that it's 2022. That's over 50 years ago. More than 50% of our schools in that study were rated as being in poor or unsatisfactory condition with outdated systems or other critical infrastructure needs. I want to point out, before I pass it to the next presenter, that our maintenance department and our custodians are doing the very, very best they can. This is not an assault on them. They work extremely hard every day. I see the work that they do. They're doing the best they can with what they have to work with. I'm sure, as you all know, it's almost impossible to repair a facility that was built in 1960. So our custodians are working hard to make our environments as friendly as possible and welcoming as possible for our students. But as a father and an educator, we have to do better to support our children and to support our staff members in Guilford County Schools. Next slide, please. This slide shows the amount of money that was requested by Guilford County Schools for capital outlay since 2015. As you can see, since 2015, Guilford County Schools requested over $97 million for capital outlay, and since 2015, we have been given about $39 million. Currently, GCS has more than $2 billion in facilities needs, including more than $800 million and deferred maintenance. I say to you, we can't keep kicking the can down the road. Delaying this further will worsen the current infrastructure challenges and only add to the current cost of our needed repairs and upgrades project. Dr. B. Next slide, please.
Next slide. In 2020, Guilford County passed a $300 million bond referendum, which is being used to support 8 new construction projects and the purchase of land for additional projects identified in the facilities master plan. Work is already underway in the 8 school projects, and dozens of community meetings to gather members' feedback and ideas on what they would like to see in a new school. Next slide. We are currently in the schematic design phase, and we will break ground on projects in the summer of 2022. The first project is projected to be completed in 2024 and the last in 2025. So there will be significant movement on these projects in the very near future. The next slides include examples of conceptual designs. Next slide. One of the schools is Brooks Global Studies Elementary School. The expected completion date is February 2024, and this school was originally built in 1951. The estimated budget of this school is $22 million. Another school is Claxton Elementary School, which is a K-5 school. Its expected completion date is January 2024, and it is one of 2 traditional schools. This will be a rebuild on its current site, and this school was originally built in 1960 with an estimated budget in excess of $31 million. We're also excited to say that Faust Gaming and Robotics Elementary School is being built, and it will be the first of its kind in Guilford County. Faust was originally built in 1965. The Gaming and Robotics School is expected to be completed by April 2024 with an estimated budget of $31 million. The new Visual and Performing Arts Elementary School will be a new school built on the former Peeler Open School site. It is expected to be completed around April 2024 with an estimated budget that exceeds $33 million. PEC, Expeditionary Learning, is a K-8 school and will be a first of its kind in Guilford County. This will be a rebuild with an estimated budget that exceeds $41 million and with a completion date of April 2024. Kaiser Middle School will be a rebuild on the Grimsley Kaiser campus. The estimated budget is approximately $55.5 million with a completion date of around May 2024. Southwest K-8 is a new construction that will house Guilford County's first STEM center. They are continuing with the land search, but the design and planning is well underway. The expected completion date is April 2024 with an estimated budget of almost $57 million.
So with that, we want to make sure that we continue building on the initial $300 million from the 2020 bond. The 2022 bond is $1.7 billion, which will allow us to access critical safety and maintenance needs for our schools. This will allow us to build 3 new schools on new sites, rebuild 18 existing schools on their current sites, and fully renovate 13 schools that require top-to-bottom improvement. This investment of $363+ million will allow for needed safety and technology upgrades for all district schools. This will allow us to provide major repairs, as Mr. Walden stated earlier, for failing roofs, heat, HVAC systems, plumbing, and this will allow for a safer and healthier learning environment for all of our scholars. When we talk about meeting the safety and technology needs for our schools, in 2020, the Board of Commissioners allocated some funds to address specific safety upgrades. This was for schools with critical needs, but the funding source only covered just a small fraction of the problem. We know that students must feel safe to learn. In the 2022 bond, this will provide safety upgrades for all district schools. This will include bollards, cameras, both interior and exterior, site signage, vestibules, digital locks, both for exterior doors as well as interior doors, phones and intercoms for classrooms and throughout the campus. First responders will then be able to interoperate their systems with that of the school system. And there will be improved tech infrastructure, including supporting tech security. So with this, we hope that we can continue to meet the safety and technology needs for our schools. So we will be digging in more closely to make sure that we are ensuring that our servers are safer and that we have that greater infrastructure. One of the things that we want to make sure our community is well aware of is the economic impact that the school bond has for our community. During the next 7 to 10 years, a combined $2 billion plus bond investment could create up to 20,000 local jobs. The school bond is an investment into the community. Now, we know that not everyone in the community has children in our schools, but we do know that this economic impact is so important. This will bring a better future through bringing new companies to our community. This bond investment could add over $100 million in property values and add close to $1 billion in savings for things like healthcare and public safety. So let's talk about the actual schools. What does that mean? Well, when we think about workforce development, and I think about the schools right here in this community, in Jamestown and here in High Point, the new Andrews will provide for public safety, health, and biomedical services. The new Northwest will focus on aviation. High Point Central happens to be where my son goes to school, will be green construction trades and furniture design. Penn Griffin will have a 6-8 Spanish immersion program as well as a 6-12 visual arts program. And also the High Point area will have a 6-12 preparatory academy. Sounds pretty wonderful to me.
Good evening. I want to talk just a little bit about the checks and balances of the school bonds and how the accountability will happen with those measures. So with the school bond of this magnitude, you can see the school bond happening with the land acquisition, with the clearing of land, with the building of schools. If you volunteer inside of schools, you can go inside and see all the updates that are happening. But I also want voters to know that you can see it in the details too. You can see it in public records, you can see the contracts, you can see all of the vetting process that is available online. Guilford County Schools has this on their website that you can see throughout on every step of the way. So if you don't have a child in the school system, you can still see all of the different things that are happening. And so the checks and balances is pretty simplistic. When the bond dollars, or when the bond is passed, how this happens is GCS administrators then take a look at each one of the projects. They outlay each project, and then they take the funding for each one of those, and they bring it to the Board of Education. Now, the Board of Education then approves that by asking questions and voting, and once that approves, then it goes to the county commissioners. And The county commissioners then ask questions and vote from there. And so the checks and balance system, it is looked at throughout the entire time by multiple different eyes to make sure that the checks and balances are checking out, and also making sure that when those contracts are secured, that we're also making sure that the vendors are delivering on what they promised to do. So GCS staff's involved throughout the life of that project, and all of those processes, of course, are laid out online. When vendors submit invoices for payment, GCS staff reviews to ensure accuracy. The GCS finance team submits invoices to Guilford County for review, and then upon that approval, Guilford County bond dollars are then transferred to GCS to pay the invoice. And I wanted to add, this is something, as a principal, I get to work with funding all the time, with state funding, with federal funding, and the one thing that I love about Guilford County, specifically our finance department, is they have a clean audit. Since we've been in inception of the audit system in 1993, from independent licensed external audits, the GCS finance team has had a clean audit, which goes to show that the checks and balances will be there to ensure that everything is happening in the contract to make sure our schools are getting what they need. So to summarize where we are today, and a lot of our colleagues have already talked about this today, that we know from that facilities report taken back in 2019 that over 50% of our schools are either in poor or unsatisfactory conditions. But we do know where we are at right now is that 8 projects are currently already underway. We can see that. We can see the land being acquired. We can see new buildings coming up. And then we know with this $1.7 million bond, as it was laid out today, we know that that's going to provide 3 new schools. It's going to provide 18 schools that will be rebuilt. It's also going to touch 13 other schools to be fully renovated. And then there's going to be an additional $363+ million that are going to provide safety, technology updates for schools, HVACs, plumbing, repairing of roofs. So all 126 schools are touched somehow with this bond. We also learned about the sales tax as well, and that proposed fraction of a penny sales tax excludes certain items such as gas, prescriptions, and it also excludes groceries. So county officials actually estimate that the sales tax impact would just equate to 5 pennies for every $20 that is spent on most goods and services. So what are those voting dates? Well, we know that mail-in ballots have already started. That started on March 28th, and early voting starts in just a couple of days on April 28th. And then early voting ends March 14th, and then Election Day is May 17th. And also there's a slide and a number as well if you'd like to promote the Guilford County School Bond and tax information. You can get a yard sign as well. So that number is hopefully in the PowerPoint up on the screen so that you can participate in that and promoting the school bond. So at this time, we'll take any questions and answers. The team is here ready to answer any questions that may be from the audience.
Okay, I'm not sure if we have the platform to answer questions at this time. However, congregation, feel free to reach out to me personally if you have any questions, concerns, or something you would like more information on, and I'm free and happy, more than willing to discuss those things with you. Just want to say thank you so much again for your time this evening, and we look forward to your support in our upcoming election. And again, thank you to Pastor Quick and Commissioner Carvina Fall